What if the secret to a meaningful and resilient life has been available for more than 2,000 years, but most people overlook it? What if philosophy is not an abstract academic subject, but a practical guide for how to live with strength, clarity, and purpose? And what if the solution to stress, anxiety, conflict, and fear lies in learning how to think and act like a Stoic? These are the central ideas in How to Be a Stoic by Massimo Pigliucci, a modern guide to ancient wisdom. Pigliucci combines personal experience, practical exercises, and the teachings of Stoic masters, especially Epictetus, to show how Stoicism can transform everyday life. Pigliucci begins by explaining that Stoicism is not about suppressing emotion or pretending to be unaffected by life. Stoicism is about learning to respond rationally rather than react impulsively. It is about mastering perception, action, and intention. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control external events, but we can always control our response. We can choose our thoughts, our values, and our actions. Real strength comes from mastering the internal world, not dominating the external world. One of the foundational concepts in the book is the Stoic idea of control. The Stoics divide life into two categories. In one category are things within our control, such as our choices, attitudes, and efforts. In the other category are things outside our control, such as other people, outcomes, weather, reputation, and external events. Most suffering comes from trying to control the second category. When we try to control what we cannot control, we create anxiety, frustration, and disappointment. Freedom begins when we focus entirely on what is ours to influence and release everything else. Pigliucci explains that Epictetus taught this principle relentlessly. If you attach your happiness to outcomes outside your control, you guarantee misery. If you attach happiness to your own character and actions, you become unshakable. Success becomes internal instead of external. You judge yourself not by what happens, but by how well you respond. That is real power. Another key lesson in How to Be a Stoic is the importance of examining and challenging our beliefs. Many of our emotional problems come from false assumptions, exaggerated fears, and irrational thinking. The Stoics believed that reason and reflection are the tools that liberate us. Pigliucci encourages the practice of asking, is this belief true? Is this fear realistic? Is this thought helping me or harming me? When we question our beliefs, we gain control over them instead of letting them control us. Pigliucci also writes about the discipline of training the mind daily. Stoicism is not something you learn once, it is something you practice constantly, like an athlete preparing for competition. Every moment becomes an opportunity to strengthen character, improve judgment, and choose virtue. You do not become wise by reading about wisdom. You become wise by applying it. Another important theme is the Stoic focus on virtue as the highest good. Virtue is moral excellence, consisting of wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. The Stoics believed that living according to virtue is the true purpose of life. External success, wealth, admiration, and pleasure are secondary. They are preferred, but not necessary. If you have virtue, you are fulfilled. If you lack virtue, nothing external can satisfy you. Virtue is the standard by which we measure ourselves. Pigliucci emphasizes that Stoicism is not passive acceptance. It is active engagement with reality. The Stoic does not withdraw from the world. The Stoic participates fully while remaining mentally grounded. Stoicism does not require emotionless detachment. It requires disciplined emotion. You care deeply but calmly. You contribute instead of complaining. You take action instead of waiting. Stoicism is a philosophy of strength and participation. The book also explores the practice of role models. Stoicism encourages choosing individuals who embody the values you wish to develop and learning from their character. Pigliucci suggests Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, but also invites readers to find examples in everyday life. Ask yourself, what would the wisest version of myself do? What would my ideal role model choose at this moment? Role modeling creates clarity when emotions distort thinking. Another technique Pigliucci explores is the practice of negative visualization. This means imagining the loss of things you take for granted, such as family, health, freedom, or comfort. The goal is not to create anxiety, but to cultivate appreciation and perspective. When you remember that everything is temporary, gratitude grows. You stop taking life for granted. Anxiety weakens because you mentally prepare for difficulty before it arrives. Nothing surprises the Stoic. Preparedness replaces fear. How to be a Stoic also teaches the importance of community. Stoicism is not lived alone. Human beings are social animals. We are here to support one another, contribute to the world, and live according to justice and cooperation. Stoicism rejects selfishness and cruelty. It emphasizes kindness, empathy, and service. To be a Stoic is to act for the common good. The Stoic does not ask what they can take, but what they can give. Pigliucci emphasizes emotional management. Anger, jealousy, resentment, and fear arise from misunderstandings of control and unrealistic expectations. When someone insults you, they do not harm you. Your reaction harms you. When life does not match your expectations, frustration follows. The solution is not to remove difficulties, but to remove illusions. Emotional suffering decreases when we align expectations with reality. Another significant Stoic practice is journaling. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily in his journal to strengthen self-awareness. Pigliucci recommends writing about challenges, failures, insights, and progress. Without reflection, growth is random. With reflection, growth is intentional. Journaling turns experience into wisdom. The book also discusses the Stoic understanding of death. The Stoics taught that death is natural and inevitable, and therefore not something to fear. Fear of death is fear of reality. Accepting mortality brings urgency, clarity, and peace. If you remember that life is temporary, you stop wasting time and begin living fully. You forgive faster, love deeper, and pursue purpose instead of distraction. Pigliucci argues that Stoicism is a practical philosophy for modern life. It offers tools for managing stress, building resilience, improving relationships, and making decisions with confidence. It teaches you to respond with reason instead of panic, and to remain calm when others lose control. In a world driven by ego, emotion, and chaos, Stoicism offers clarity, stability, and strength. The big takeaway from How to Be a Stoic is powerful. You cannot control external events. You cannot control other people. You cannot control what will happen tomorrow. But you can always control your mind, your choices, and your character. That is where real freedom begins. When you master yourself, you stop being a victim of circumstance. You become resilient, intentional, and centered. Life stops happening to you and begins happening through you. So which Stoic principle resonates most with you? The discipline of focusing only on what you can control? The practice of turning challenges into training? The clarity of questioning your beliefs? Or the reminder that virtue is the true measure of success? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this summary, like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and tap the bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives into life-changing books. Remember, You cannot control the world. You can always control your mind. And that is where true strength lives.